Kritika, welcome on this show to Mind My Mind.
Thank you for speaking with me today.
Awesome. We welcome Kritika. Dear viewers, welcome to you all also to this talk show by Mind My Mind. Kritika Chandrasekhar is the author of the mental health memoir of hers. Have you heard the sound of your own voice? This memoir she penned down after her journey and trials with depression over a couple of years. And she writes it to bring it to everyone as a guide. And guess what? She is an electrical engineer by profession. She did her electrical engineering degree from the US, worked in this fair for a while, and then when she returned to India, she picked up acupuncture as a different profession. So let's understand what her journey was through depression and what led her to doing what she is and how that connects up with depression. So Kritika, first of all, my first question would be that how did you find yourself in depression? How did you figure out that you were depressed?
The first few months, I did not know. I was crying without reason. I had severe headaches. The painkillers I was taking for the headache stopped working. I found that I had trouble sleeping. I could not eat. I was coming back home to India for a vacation, and I visited a doctor in stealth mode. When I described the symptoms, she said that I could have depression. I lived in denial. I didn't want to believe what she said, and I hated what I heard. So I decided to persist and see myself out of the problem I had landed into. So
Excellent. And from the stealth mode that you went to a doctor first, and from denial to actually coming out today in front of people and speaking about it. And of course, you've written a book that says it all. What was that journey? What made you transcend that journey from denial to acknowledgement to dealing with it, surviving it, and then coming out and talking about it, writing about it, and then talking about it? What's your journey there?
there are very few accounts of people having lived with depression. I tried to find them when I was going through the illness, and I didn't find anything that would help me. At the same time, I was also reading these articles of engineering and medical college students who were dying by suicide. For me, even though I didn't know them personally, I felt miserable for them as well as their families. People who were left behind with no answers. And it's intensely lonely to go through this depression by yourself. And I wanted to write this book so that it could be a companion guide to anyone who's suffering without telling anyone about it. That's how the book came to be.
So, what helped you? How did you help yourself?
I told no one. My parents did not know. My friends did not know. For me, I was very clear that I had to finish graduate school. There was no letting go of the academic goals I'd set for myself. And every day was a struggle. But because this end goal was defined, I knew that I had to see myself to the finish line. And that's what kept me going.
Persistence.
Yes, yes.
Persistence. What about your support system? Who was your support system through all of this? You did not reach out to family, like you said. You also did not reach out to friends.
Um, I did not reach out to family because I didn't want to make them worried. I was in another country, so there's always a lot of worry about the general goings on in a child's life um, when you are studying abroad. I didn't want to add this to their list of worries. As far as my friends are concerned, I am blessed with a very good friend circle. They're all deeply empathetic, but since we were all in the same intense academic environment, I didn't want to burden them with my struggles. So I always acted very normal in company, and I struggled in private. So I sort of led parallel lives, and having to carry on this act was also very exhausting, and it took a toll on me.
Would this journey have been easier with therapists?
Um, the thing about therapy that I did not know at the time is that you have to find a therapist whom you can trust and who works well with you. Um, I was put off after the first therapist I saw. I felt like I was being judged. One important thing to mention is that you're always on edge and you feel like the world is out to get at you when you're depressed. Um, so I did not persist with therapy, but I'm sure that if I had done my research and information was available to me about the different kinds of therapists that are available, I would have benefited from it.
So you went to the therapist only once, and was that in US?
It was in India.
It was in India. Okay.
Yes.
So you went to a therapist only once?
Yes.
Okay. So how long did it take you to come out of depression finally?
I had depression for about 3 years, and I came out of it, by accident almost. I had to move out of
I
campus.
won't say that though,
Uh,
and I'll tell you why.
yes, yes, I had to move out of campus to a neighborhood, largely American neighborhood. And for the first time, I was in the presence of very non judgmental people. They had more to offer to me than my peers could because they had seen more of life than my friends. And I was able to see myself as more than just having a specific academic qualification. And that grounded me. And that helped me get out of depression.
So what I hear you say, that having is set up, having therapists whom you can trust and who can understand, and having the persistence in your own self to follow through everything that is being told, uh, helps to you to kind of finally get out of that.
Correct.
So, Kritika, I have heard your story, and of course, we've spoken a lot about your book as well, where you write your own personal bits. What is it that you would want to tell those people who suffer in silence? For the simple reason, you see, when you physically fall ill, there is a fever, there is a rash, or something with which you go to a doctor. We get a prescription written, we eat those medicines, and we are fine. Now, this is something which is very, it's a very natural process of life that you're living. All of us cry, all of us laugh, all of us have mood swings, all of us get angry. How does one even recognize that you're actually, depressed or, suffering, and you need help, and you need to go out and figure that you need to set yourself on the right path? How do you do that?
There's a big difference between depression and sadness. If you have done badly on an exam, or if you've failed in a job interview, you're likely very sad. But when your circumstances improve, your mood also tends to become better. Depression happens all of a sudden. It could strike you when, from the outside, everything is going on well with you. And when that happens, it's because you have piled mental burdens along the way. And at one breaking point, it just manifests as depression. For different people, there are different symptoms For me, it was headache and insomnia and lack of appetite. For the next person, they might want to eat a lot, um, and a general sense of lethargy. Um, the some sort of invisible force that is keeping them down all day. Those are all reported symptoms of depression. When you feel like there is something which is not normal with you, my first step that I would recommend to a friend, reach out to someone you trust. It could be a friend, it could be a family member. Always figure out your treatment plan with someone you love. This should not be a solitary journey for anyone. Even when you're going to visit a therapist, it's always comforting to know that someone's waiting for you outside. What you are going to discuss with the therapist is not plans for a trip to Disneyland. There is You're going to talk about trauma, about the things that affected you, how you reacted to them. And after the therapist session, you are likely to feel depleted because you have discussed all these things that you have carried with you silently. And it's always good to know that a family member or a friend has your back unconditionally. Mm, Also know that therapy is not a one session, I will fix you kind of a deal. You have to persist. And most importantly, if the therapist prescribes any exercise, it could be writing down a gratitude journal, for example. Although it's tough on some days to be grateful for anything, it's important that you persist with the tips that the therapist is giving you to be able to notice any relief.
Interesting. So, how does acupuncture help? I mean, I've heard you talk very passionately about, acupuncture. Now, we've heard of the various benefits of that across different diseases, but not very much is known about depression and how, how an acupuncturist can actually help you with depression. So help us understand a little more about that, because I think that's very important. If there are, what are the other possibilities of treatment, of help?
When a person comes in with depression, they likely have been on antidepressants. They want to do something that can help them feel better. And they detail their symptoms. It could be, say, a lack of appetite, or it could be a lack of sleep. Um, there are specific points. For example, there's a combination of 3 points called the Buddha's triangle on the palmar aspect of the wrist, which helps in treating anxiety and fear. And there's a point in between the two eyebrows, which works very well for insomnia. And we do a tongue and pulse diagnosis, very different from Western medicine, to find out which body organs have an energy deficiency. And we try to address the energy deficiency, and we try to balance the energy flow um, in a 30-minute session. Depending on the severity of the depression, we take about 10 to 12 sessions before the patient can see visible improvements. But what I find deeply gratifying is the first time when a person who has depression comes in, they are unable to even articulate their struggles. You meet them at this position where they're very vulnerable, when they break down, and then 6 sessions in, when they come in and they're a lot more cheerful, that's when you realize you've made an impact. And that, to me, that process of helping a person see a little bit of light, that to me is deeply gratifying.
Very interesting, Kritika. So you're a person of science. All of this is scientifically journaled. Have there researches been done on the outcomes of these?
Yes. There are trials, clinical trials conducted with patients who are on antidepressants. They have been subjected to a study over an 8 or 10 week period with and without acupuncture, and the results have been documented in medical journals.
Excellent, excellent. So, Kritika, mental health and depression has a lot of myths all around us. It's very easy for people, like you said, you mentioned the word judgmental over and over again. What is your message to people who suffer in silence and have not been able to come out and talk about this, talk about their problems. What is your message to them about standing up for themselves?
The first thing I hear, if I should venture to talk about how I feel, my close friends will tell me, but you have a good education, you have a nice house, supportive parents. What do you have to be depressed about? The first myth is depression does not discriminate. It can strike anyone. Mostly it does when at a time when you're least expecting it. When a friend is talking about how they feel, please be open to hearing what they have to say before offering some kind of feedback. That is very useful. The next thing is that there is no guaranteed end date. Unlike, say, an infection where the doctor says, after this course of antibiotics, you will be all right. Or, in the case of a fracture, they say that if you are in this cast for 8 weeks, after that, you can walk. There is no end date to depression. Don't struggle with this idea of I have to beat this illness. By the end of the month, I have to be free from depression. Putting yourself through this pressure is unwarranted. The most important thing is try and be kind to yourself. The thought experiment I do is I think about how I treat my friends. Am I kind to them? Am I generous with them? Then I think that if I can treat my friends kindly, I should also extend the same courtesy to myself. And also, the other thing is you cannot snap out of depression. You cannot say that a positive attitude will just help you get rid of it. And you cannot distract yourself. Like, there is no such thing as a 2-hour break or a holiday from depression. You cannot say I will go shopping or take a spa day and beat the depression. It follows you everywhere you go, and there's no break or reprieve. These are some of the myths that I really wish go away.
How long did it take you to come out of depression?
um, 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people whom I have, kind of spoken to feel that, 1 or 2 sessions will help. Do you think that is enough? Do you think when people come out for treatment, um, they should also expect that, you have to kind of follow through with the treatment, follow through with the, because the treatment here is only sessions. Either you be on antidepressants, which has a lot of other side effects, and not really be addressing the core issue as well.
Right. You have to persist with therapy. There is, as hard as it may be to unravel how you feel to a stranger, it's what is going to help you. um, to talk openly is a very scary thing for most of us, and that's only because we feel like we are going to be dismissed. Once you have established that confidence in the therapist, that the therapist will deal with everything you're saying and not make you feel small for feeling the way you are. um, then you have established that safe space where you can talk about whatever it is that is troubling you, and that safe space is what's going to guide you out of the depression that you are in.
Thank you so much for this jewel of information, Kritika. I think it's very brave of you to come out and talk about this. And I'm sure listening to you is going to help many, many people.
Thank you so much.
Who I think my message to them would be that stand up for yourself. It's important. It's very, very important. So thank you, dear viewers. I think it was great understanding and listening to Kritika's journey, which is also journaled in her book. We will share some details about that. But more than that, please feel free to reach out for, in case you have any problems. And also, today you have discovered a new way of treatment through acupuncture as well. So I think that's a great learning for the day. Thank you, Ms. Kritika. Thank you, dear viewers. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you.